All right, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Throne Bros. I am your host, Nando. Alongside me is the Three-Eyed Raven. What's going on?
Three-Eye Raven in the building. We want to give a shout out to all the Game of Throners, House of Dragoners, Hedge Knighters. It's been a beautiful journey, and we're here to talk about the finale.
Yep, the finale. It was called the Morrow. Um, so let's get right to it. Um, it starts out with Lionel Baratheon looking over Sir Duncan, who's just sitting by the oak tree, all all sore and everything. Lionel brings, I guess, his maester with him. Uh,
I think it was like one of those fake maesters,
yeah.
like Cersei. I think it was Qyburn, the guy that was messing with Cersei. I think he's kind of
Yeah,
like him. Yeah,
off the books, Maester. Yeah.
yeah,
So Lionel, now Lionel lays down with them. They start sharing uh, um, his little thing of ale. Um, can't think of the name right now. But they start sharing it. Lionel still trying to convince him to come to Storm's End with them, and all that. While the Maester's checking him out, he basically was like, if you come with me, like, we'll have a good time. I love you like a brother. And then if you don't, I'll hate you like a brother. But then the maester kind of says, yeah, his wounds are he's dying.
yeah.
Which Lana was like, um he makes a joke, like he insults him. He's like the
Yeah,
it kind of says,
I think he called him a shit maester or a
yeah, he
witch
says
or
his shit
something.
his shit maester, get out of here, you witch. He's like, you couldn't even handle something asshole,
Yeah.
he said. But anyway, Duncan says he's not, going to stay. He's not gonna go with Lionel. Sorry, not that. Um,
So right here, right? He basically tells Lionel like, yeah, all I do is bring pain and suffering to the people around me.
yep.
And Lionel tells him like, yo, you did the realm a justice, you know,
Like you
kind of,
don't see it now, but you'll see it later.
yeah, basically talking about Baylor's death. But I mean, I guess more so Targaryen death, not so much Baylor.
Yeah. So then it goes to the funeral for Baylor.
Well,
Obviously.
actually, one thing I wanna say about this scene, right? So, after Lionel said like, "Oh, you did a favor to the realm, whatever," Duncan says like, "Hey, like that was the prince, like he fought for me, whatever, right?" And I'm not Lionel responds like, "Yo, I fought for you. Raymond fought for you, like." the uh the Beesbury, the Humphreys, like they fought for you. Like Baylor had nothing to lose. He didn't risk anything because he was fighting up against
Kingsguard.
uh his guards. Like
Yeah.
and they wasn't about to, they wasn't posing no threat. Like
Nope.
we're the ones that, put our lives on the line.
Yep.
Like but yeah, he kind of confronted
Yeah.
Duncan about that.
Yep. Yeah. So that did happen. Sorry, I almost skipped over it. The funeral happens. Obviously, the Targaryens are there. Well, not everyone, 'cause some are recovering. Uh, but Duncan's in far away watching the ceremony. He then, after everybody leaves, he goes and I guess pays respects to the burned ashes and everything that were just sitting there while the it was getting cleaned up. He then talks to Baylor's son. He wasn't talked about much. What's his name?
Hold on, give me a sec. Because I
Well,
actually forgot to.
well, anyway, he talks to him basically, and you could tell he's going through it. Obviously, his father just died, and he's basically saying like, he feels guilty because his dad died in his armor. You know what I mean? And he's like, how many? There's been plenty of people. There's plenty of princes or knights that died in their father's armor, but has there ever been many that died in
Their sons.
in their son's armor? Um,
Yeah, his name's Valor.
yeah, Valor.
Valor
Um,
Targaryen. Yeah.
so they kind of keep talking. Duncan's kind of giving his like his words, you know what I mean, how sorry he is, whatever. Um, basically, Valor kind of says, he was like supposed to be the next great king. As good as Aegon, right?
Yeah, yeah. He said Aegon the Dragon was
Aegon the
basically
dragon.
Aegon the Conqueror, the
Yeah,
first the the
yeah, the first in the
conquest.
line. Yeah, yeah, yeah. The
Yeah,
first in the line after they got the Westeros. Yes. Um,
yeah,
so they go back and not back and forth, but they keep talking. And Sir Duncan says something about the gods, and then the gods, Valor kind of says something about like, "Wow, the gods like save you and not him," like because I think he was talking about like good man or something like that. Like
yeah,
so, so then we move on to Sir Duncan at the campsite. He's talking to Raymond. Well, he bumps into Raymond. He's talking to Raymond. Raymond's basically telling him like, he shows him his new shield with the green apple.
yeah.
Also,
Like I
also,
mentioned in
also,
the last
also reveals he married the lady of the night that we met in episode one and two.
Lady Rowe.
Lady Rowan. They're
Yeah,
expecting
Lady
a
Rowe.
kid. They're expecting a kid, and
Yeah, yeah.
Duncan's
Just did you see his face?
yeah, Duncan's face was funny. He also was acting like he didn't know her because like the way they introduced each other is like she was like nice, pleasure to meet you, and like they
Yeah,
acted like they didn't know each other. Um, while they're talking, a couple of the Targaryen guards come. Sir Duncan says, Maekar wants an audience, and Raymond's like, no, he's not gonna go. He's gone through enough. And then Duncan being Duncan says, I'll go. You know what I mean? Um, this conversation was pretty, interesting. Obviously, you show the side of Maekar where he's feeling guilt because he's saying he didn't mean it, and men around the realm will say that he meant to do it. Obviously because he's the brother and he wasn't next in line, all that stuff. You know what I mean? Um, then they kind of go back and forth about what they will say about Duncan, which Maekar says, yeah, they'll say that you killed him too. Um,
yeah, yeah. So basically, he he kind of he's kind of regretful. He's like, yeah, some people say I killed him. I meant to kill him, but he also like points the finger at Dunk, and he tells him like, yeah, well, people are gonna say, talk about you too, because you kind of had something to do with it as
yeah,
well. But like what I want to point out in the book, right? This scene that happens, it doesn't happen in the castle. Makar actually goes to Duncan like while he's chilling at the tree, and he has the conversation with him at the tree.
okay,
But I guess for the show, they
slight
switched
change.
it up.
Yeah, slight change. Basically,
Yeah,
they keep talking, and he asked them. He basically makes them an offer. He's like, "Look, I'll put you in some like hall somewhere, and
Summer Hall.
Summer Hall,
Yeah,
and you can take Aegon as a squire." You know what I mean? He's
but
like,
before that, he mentions that he's sending Arian to the west because I guess to help him get in line, whatever.
"Yeah,
But yeah, just wanted to just mention that.
yeah." Did say that. He said, "Take Aegon. We'll give you Summer Hall. You can teach Aegon everything you know, and I'll send my Master of Arms to teach you some more stuff because there's a lot you don't know." Um, Duncan denies the offer. He said he's done with princes. That's basically what he says.
Yeah,
After all of it, so he denies. While this was happening, obviously Egg was listening, as he usually does. Um, when Dunk comes out, he sees Egg in this little room. He sits next to him. And Egg's trying to talk to him. He even asks him, he's like, "Are you in pain?" And uh, Duncan says, "I can't." You know, I'm sure he's stopping his feelings. You know what I mean? I think he has a lot of love for Egg in the short time that they've been
yeah,
together. So like, he was like, he didn't want to like talk further because he knew he was just sucked in. And then Aegon hits him with the whole, maybe you're not the knight I thought you were. He hits him with that at the end of their conversation or short conversation, which. you know, it probably made Duncan think, especially coming from Egg. Anything from that I miss?
No, I mean that was pretty quick. The next scene, we finally get what we kind of been wondering for a little while. It goes to a flashback of Duncan and Sir Arlen, and this is like right before Sir Arlen died, and they're having a conversation, and Sir Arlen's telling him like, "Hey, like when the noble houses call their bannermen, the soldiers they nail a penny to the oak tree, right?" And he was like, "Yeah, that's why I call it the penny tree. I guess that's where he got his name from, Arlen Penny Tree." But so we get that little story, right? And Egg comes out and asks him like, "Hey, why did you never knight me?"
Dunk.
Right? So we get that reveal. So Dunk was never knighted, right? He reveals it,
Yeah.
and he asked him like, "Oh, what did you think I was just gonna leave you, like leave you behind? Like I wouldn't have left you." And Sir Arlen kind of like passes out, I guess, or he kind of like dies briefly.
Yeah.
Then he like comes back to life, and like it was nothing. 'Cause he never heard. I guess he
He's
never heard
drunk.
Duncan ask him like, why he never knighted him, but he never answered that question for him.
Yep.
But we finally got to know
Yeah.
Dunk was never knighted.
Yep. As we figured. Um, then we go to Raymond and Dunk talking about they're having a drink. They're kind of talking about, Raymond's really blown away about why the bees are in this little coffin that's there.
Well, yeah, it's the Beesbury's funeral.
Yeah.
That's what they're celebrating. I guess since it's the house.
Yeah.
I don't know what their sigil is, but they put the bees on the coffin, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, and then his lady Rowan basically says like, "Hey, it's because of this that the bees keep coming because they put this on there."
Yeah, they
So,
they put the queen in the coffin, so like all the soldier bees, like they huddled around to protect the
mhm.
queen.
There you go.
Yeah,
And Duncan
that's pretty
gets
cool.
up. Duncan gets up because he sees somebody afar and it's Darren. And he basically calls him out. He's like, "You have no shame, being out here. Those men died because of you. So obviously, don't get thrown the blame because that's how it initially started. Everything
Mhm.
he thinks because Darren accused him of taking egg and all that. Um, they get to talking and like Darren just brings up, my brother used to be better or not such a devil, not such diabolic, I think is what he actually says. Which Duncan makes a face because he thinks he's talking about egg. Because I guess
Yeah.
he doesn't like that people talk about egg. Like obviously, because
Mhm.
he spent time with him, so he's gonna defend him. So he's talking about Arion. He talks about how when he was a boy he was fine. I mean, he used to like fishing, he used to do normal things and like, whatever. Um then Darren asked him the same thing as dad. He's like, you should take egg as a squire. Um and anything I missed there before I keep going to the next scene, which is pretty interesting.
No, no. So I mean, that's pretty much straight to the point. You know, well, I mean, we kind of this next scene kind of explains why Darren asked Dunk to take him as a squire.
Egg.
So yeah, the next scene we go to Dunk. I mean, I'm sorry, we go to Egg, and he's in his room, and he has like a plate with food, and there's a knife, like I guess in the fish that was on his plate, and he grabs the knife. Next thing we know, he's walking in Arian's room.
Well, before we go, there's a one
Yeah.
key part before he grabs the knife and everything. He looks himself in the mirror and realizes his hair is growing back. His silver hair is growing back, and I think he fears that. That's the reason why he cut it because I guess he doesn't want to be like Aryan. I believe that's really
Mhm.
why, and that's what led to him going into the next scene.
Well, well, if we now that you mention that, right? Because Darren's hair is brown,
Yeah,
and only Egg and Arian have the blonde hair.
Yeah,
So
and obviously,
yeah.
Maester, obviously the Maester that we don't see in this. That's the guy that's at the Citadel, his son, Egg's brother.
Oh yeah, yeah, Amen, Amen,
He
yeah, yeah,
he was Silver, Aemon. I couldn't think of his
yeah,
name, but he's Silver. We know that from the original series. We don't
yeah,
know that now because we're not seeing him. So yeah, like you said, keep going. He goes into the room.
yeah. He goes into the room with the knife, and he's walking up to Arian, who's like sleeping, and he's basically thinking about killing him. And as he gets closer to Arian, he hears a noise to the side, and Makar is sitting right there, and he sees him, and Makar gets up. He walks up to Egg, and he like grabs him, like kind of like by the shoulder, kind of gives him a hug, and they you could tell like they're both like in pain, like you could see like kind of the dysfunction of the Targaryen family.
Yeah,
And like I mentioned, like I think this scene kind of shows like why Darren wants Duncan to go squire for Duncan, so he doesn't turn out like the rest of all the bad
bad seeds.
Targaryens.
Yeah,
Yeah, he doesn't want to be the bad seed like.
they get interrupted by one of the guards saying, "Sir Duncan requests an audience." That's how that scene ends. Um, they go to the hallway. Duncan's waiting, and the daughter of Sir, what's the place called?
Ashford.
Ashford comes up to him and tells him, "I don't blame you for ruining my name day. It's horrible what they did to you," and basically just tells him like it's not. I don't blame you for anything. So, which Duncan politely says thank you. Um, Makar comes in. He's like, "All right, make it quick. Like, like make the meeting quick."
Yeah,
They talk and basically Duncan says, "I want to take Egg with me, but I don't want Summerhall. I want to be free on the road. We'll travel. We'll sleep in some castles sometimes. We'll sleep in a lesser lord's house. We'll sleep in inns. We'll sleep under a tree sometimes." Which Makar says, he's the blood of the dragon. He can't be out there, you know, not scavenging, but uh,
well, living like a peasant.
yeah, living like a peasant, eating salt beef, which Duncan calls him out about. He's like, well, Darren and Arion didn't, they didn't eat salt beef. They ate the good kind of beef, the one that's
Mhm.
bloody and everything. And basically tell him like, look how they turned out. Uh,
Yeah,
and he basically kind of tells him like it would serve him well to, do that. And then basically Makar just shuts it down. Um, he shuts it down this time, obviously, because of his concerns. He basically tells him he's my only son. He's my last son, not his only son, but it's his last son.
yeah,
So obviously, Makar has some feelings over that, and like you said, there's a lot of emotion right now over everything. So like that kind of comes out when he tells him that. Um, the next they go to Sir Duncan getting ready to leave with his horses, and Sir Ireland, Sir Ireland's horse comes back that he sold a few episodes ago. Sweetfoot. Sweetfoot comes back. Um, you know, Duncan's asking what he's doing here, and then Raymond pops up, and he's basically like, "Look, I had to get it back for you. This that." Which Duncan politely basically tells him like she'll be better served in some apple orchard. You know, basically told Raymond to take it. So he gives
yeah,
Sweetfoot to Raymond.
yeah. So in this part, right, he asks him, Raymond, like, well, what are you doing now? Like, what you gonna do? He tells him he's gonna start a apple cider business. So that's why he gifted him the horse. And he also Raymond asked Dunk like, "Hey, you going with Lionel?" Like, and he's like, "Nah, I'm not going to Storm's End. I'm not going with Lionel. I'm gonna just go the opposite way. I'm gonna just go wherever the road takes me." But yeah,
Next,
so that was yeah,
yeah, then they go to him under the tree again. He's carving something up, and then we notice that he puts the penny on the tree, like Sir Arlen told him. He puts that
yeah,
penny there, and he starts to walk away. Um, but he hasn't got on his horse yet. And then he kind of hear from afar somebody say Sir Duncan, and he turns around as Egg, and you know, Egg basically tells him, "My dad changed his mind. He said yes, so I could come squire for you." And then he basically tells him like, "You can have Chestnut. Chestnut's yours." So he gives him the other horse, Chestnut, and they're gonna ride out together. Um, they start talking about where we're going, um, and basically they kind of go about it, and they get into an argument about there's more than seven kingdoms, which I think you will appreciate. This he says there's nine, um,
Yeah.
and he names them, you know, and basically Sir Duncan's like, he's calling them out like before he names them. He's like, "Are you mad? There's seven kingdoms around realm. Everybody knows that." And then he names them: the Crown Lands,
Yeah. Egg tells
Winterlands,
him.
Stormlands, the Iron Islands, the North, the Reach, the Vale of Arryn, and Dorne. So there's nine in there somewhere. I might have missed one, but yeah, he names them. And then they decide to go to Dorne because Egg's never been. Duncan's, I don't think, has been either. Maybe he has, but it's been a while.
Well, I don't think they decide to go to Dorne, but he tells him like, "Well, I've never been to Dorne," kind of suggests like,
Yeah.
where to go next.
And
But
he tells
yeah,
them, they got good puppet shows. I hear is what Egg tells. You know, they show him riding off, and for a second, Sir Ireland is riding with them, and then he goes off to the side, kind of basically passing the torch. Kind of is what I saw it as. This is
yeah,
you now. I'm gone for good now. You got this kind of thing, and then they both ride away, and then it ends, but it doesn't end. We get the bonus scene where the Targaryens are leaving.
yeah,
Yeah, and then Makar's looking for Egg, and nobody
yeah,
can find him. So it turns out
yeah.
Egg lied to Duncan, and he just left like before, and he just left with Sir Duncan, and
Nah, I like this scene because it's like a serious moment, but it's still like they made it comical. How like certain parts of the series, you're like, where the fuck is he? So I thought it was pretty funny. But a cool part, like before they show this, like they show the Targaryens departing. Like you know how like they always show like the title of the show. They put
yeah,
a Knight of the Seven Kingdoms.
yeah,
Well, on this episode, they changed it to a Knight of the Nine Kingdoms, which I thought was pretty cool.
yes, that did happen. Uh,
Yeah,
yeah. So, um, there's nine kingdoms. Uh, Obviously, it got to seven by the main show because there was a couple of them that they never mentioned. You know what I mean? So they might have gone extinct those areas, but you know what I'm saying? Um, Good
yeah,
show, man. Good show. I loved it. Like we said throughout the
yeah.
whole
It
thing,
was
like we said through the whole thing while we were reviewing it, it's a good watch. It's like it's easy. It's not until that battle scene, it doesn't get like dark. You know what I mean? But they found a way to make it, like you said, serious moments became comical a little bit. It kind of lighthearted in a way, which is cool. You know what I mean? It's a little bit of a switch up, but you still got the feeling of Game of Thrones, obviously, and as is
mm,
the Three Eye Raven explained when we first started, the way these books are published, they're kind of like a comic strip, as he said. So it's kind of So it's kind of take it as you may. Was Before we go, I'll ask you Three Eye Raven because you know all. Um, this reach everything that was in the first book, or no? Is there still stuff they might have left, or you think they're just gonna skip like certain things?
no, no. So this is they they pretty much like stayed true to the book.
Okay.
Like there's certain things they
I
kind
mean,
of
well,
changed up and added, just for the show purpose. Like I mentioned, like in this episode, like Maekar goes to Egg,
yeah,
but in the show, like they call Dunk to the castle. So it's just kind of like minor changes that they put in,
yeah,
which I thought, I mean, I thought it was cool. Like it didn't really like ruin the story of the book,
Yeah, yeah.
but like they just did it for make
Well,
the episodes longer because literally like the book's like 70 pages, so like they just had to add stuff, to make it like I thought it was beautifully directed. Like I saw a clip on social media where they did kind of like certain scenes like from the flashbacks to the like to the regular time where with Dunk and Egg where it was kind of like parallel scenes like Dunk when he was a kid, doing things like trying on Sir Arlen's equipment, getting on the horse, and then they show like Egg doing the same thing, like just small things like that. Like it was really good. It was a really good. It was a good show. I liked it.
yep, I liked it too. It's a little bit like we said, it's a little bit of teaser. We still have to wait. We're recording this like the end of February. We still got to wait a few months. House of the Dragon, the trailer came out, and basically all I can say about the trailer is there's gonna be some blood, there's gonna be some fire. We're gonna get at it, in this season. And we'll see. We talked about this how far they'll stretch it. I They already approved the next season, so how much are they going to stretch it? Is the next season not this one, but the next one that they approve? Is that going to be the last, and that's how they're going to wrap it up? There's a lot to be, but from the trailer, all I can say is some people are going to die, and there's going to be a lot of battles. So there's going to be a lot of intense moments. Well, I don't know if it's going to be every episode, but you know what I'm saying. They might save it for like the second to last, like they usually do, but we'll see. You know what I mean? Looking forward to it, but obviously we gotta wait till June. So
Yeah,
yeah,
but yeah, to all the fans out there, if you guys want to get a head start on season two, this is the book right here. The Sworn Sword, The Hedge Knight Part Two. Again, like it's an easy read, for all the people that don't like reading. It's an easy read for people that do like reading. Just a quick little story.
yeah,
Um, yeah, like these are if you're a fan of the whole Game of Thrones, Song of Fire, Ice, world, you should check it out. It's really good.
that's right. All right, guys. Well, this is us signing off. I'm not gonna promise anything. We do have some ideas in the works, but obviously, just tune into the channel. If you see something pop up, just like always, support, watch, like, share, all that. But our review of A Night of the Seven Kingdom has ended. And we'll be back soon. We'll be back soon. Okay, we're gonna try to be back before June at some point. Do some fun things, um, involving the whole series, and you'll see it out there when it comes out. All right. Any last words? 3 Hour Raven.
Appreciate everyone who tuned in. Uh, this isn't the last you'll see of us. We'll be back with other things, other videos, other reviews. Again, appreciate everybody tuned in. Like, share, subscribe. All the works. I appreciate everyone.
All right.
My watch just ended.
There it is. See you guys next time.